Hello, friends. Today we're going to talk about pre-competition nerves. As a former competitive athlete and professional figure skater, I know firsthand how nerve-wracking it can be to perform in front of others, not to mention an arena filled with thousands of people or a judging panel. Those judges' jobs are there to critique you and to tell you how well you performed or how well you didn't perform. I used to get really nervous at competitions, and that would get in the way of my performance. But over many years of experience and trainings and practicing different types of mindset and strategies of visualization and so on, I found some techniques that allowed me to manage those pre-competition jitters or pre-performance jitters and allow me to show up and perform my very best. In this video, I'm going to share with you some of those tips so that you can harness your nervous energy and excel in your competition, in your games, in your matches, whatever sport you might be in. You can apply these tools. And if you're a coach, you can take these to the field, to the arena, and work with your athletes on them. And if you're an athlete, I applaud you for showing up, tuning in, wanting to take responsibility for your own success in your sport. This is the mentality of a true champion. So I congratulate you for just showing up and tuning in. So let's dive in. Remember, these tools are very simple. We're not going to go into great depth or detail into them. I just want to give you guys something that you can take away from this video and apply right away into the next test day that you're in or competition or match, whatever sport you're in, okay? So number one, reframe your mindset. Instead of thinking of nerves as a bad thing or a negative thing, think of them as a sign that your body is preparing to perform. Nerves are a natural response to stress, and it's important that we learn how to harness that energy so that we can use it to our advantage. So what does that look like? Well, we know that, maybe you don't know, but I'm here to tell you that the nerves come from our thinking. Okay, so if we're thinking thoughts like, I have to perform well, I gotta land my double axel, or I gotta score a goal, or my parents are counting on me, or I don't want to disappoint my coach. These are all thoughts that are going to generate even more nervous energy. So be aware of your thoughts. This is part of reframing the mindset, not seeing nerves as a bad thing, but seeing them as something that is just a sign that you care and your body's preparing to perform. So what does this look like? So for you to take something away and use it in your own training, in your own competition, it could be as simple as saying to yourself, oh, I'm starting to feel nervous. This is the part of my competition where my body is getting ready to perform. Right, it's a sign. Nothing has gone wrong here. I feel nervous because I care, and I'm just going to focus on what I can control. And we'll get into that a little bit later. So that's the first tool, is reframe your mindset, not seeing the nerves as a negative thing, but as a sign that your body is getting ready to perform and that you care about how well you can do because you know you can do amazing and you've been training hard. The second tool is breathing techniques. There are many different breathing techniques out there. Some give you energy, some allow you to calm down. Has your coach ever said, just calm down, just relax? And you're like, relax? I can't relax. My heart is palpitating, my legs are shaking, I feel sweaty, I just want to run and hide, but you're not going to because you're a champion. Well, if someone tells you to relax or calm down, you have to be able to control your breath, or at least pay attention to your breath. And the technique that I like to use is allowing my exhalation to be a little bit longer than my inhalation. This signals to the brain, to the body, I am safe, I can relax. So what does that look like? Well, first of all, we don't want to go into deep breathing. So we don't want to be going into like 8 count breaths in, 8 or 10 count breaths out. We want to follow our natural rhythm of breathing. So if you do feel a little bit like you have an elevated heart rate, your breathing is going to be a little bit quicker. It might only be 2 seconds or 1 second. So let's say our regular breath is about 3 seconds long. You're going to take a 5-second exhalation. So that looks like inhale for 1, 2, 3, and exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try that again. This time when you inhale, keep your shoulders down. As you exhale, allow there to be more room between your ears and your shoulders. Try it again. Inhale. And exhale, soften your face. Soften the features in your face. How do you feel now? There's a difference, right? You can use this breathing technique also in your training, not just when it comes to competition. You can also use it in other areas of your life. Maybe you're getting ready for an exam or you feel an unpleasant emotion. Breathing techniques, and especially this one where your exhalation is a little bit longer than your inhalation, allows you to feel a little bit more focused, centered, and grounded. Number 3, channel your energy. Figure skaters, this one is for you. Do you ever notice that at test day or at competition, you get to the end of your program before your music ends? Well, that's from something called adrenaline, and the nerves create adrenaline. So the adrenaline rush will make you rush through things. This is why your coach is always saying to you, take one thing at a time, right? Be present, slow down, don't rush, okay? How do we do this? We have to go back to tool number one, reframe the mindset. Okay, this nervous energy can actually work to our advantage. We can jump higher. We have more energy at the end of our program. Okay, so this is why it's also important that when we do, say, a competition simulation or we're in preparing for competition, that we put our dress on, that we give ourselves the clear the ice so that we can really allow ourselves to get into the mindset and the environment of competition. Then we get to practice these tools. Okay, so that's really important. Okay, you guys, last tool for you, number 4, self-talk. This is not just something that crazy people sometimes do. This is what Olympic level athletes, professional athletes, including myself, do to harness that nervous energy and instill confidence and belief in ourselves. This is so important. And it's not something that you have to do out loud. You can do it inside your own mind, right? So what does that look like? That might be just telling yourself, I'm prepared. I've trained really hard. I'm showing up and doing my best, right? If you guys want other examples of positive self-talk, talk to your coaches. They have definitely gone through this before. They know where you're at. So this is kind of getting into a deeper conversation and perhaps another video, but understanding where the nerves come from is really based off of our beliefs about ourselves too. So that's kind of another topic for another time. But if I can just give you this one thing to think about when it comes to self-talk, is that it doesn't happen overnight. Take it to your training. Practice positive self-talk in your training when you're, going in for that jump, or when you're showing up in dryland class and you're feeling a little bit tired, or you're not doing the number of reps that you possibly could do. So using self-talk in your practice is also going to affect you in your performance when it counts. So let's do a little recap so that you can take these tools with you to your next competition, your test day, or you can implement them right into your training or your practice. So number 1, reframe your mindset, right? Instead of thinking as your nerves is a negative thing or a bad thing, remind yourself that, oh yeah, this is just my body preparing to perform. Simple, nothing has gone wrong. Number 2, breathing techniques. Allow that exhalation to become a little bit longer than your inhalation to signal to your body, I am safe, I can relax just a little bit. Number 3, channel your energy. Take that energy and work with it. Use it to your advantage. And number 4, self-talk, which we just talked about, okay? And this is just so important. And I just want to share with you guys an example of how it's really important to use this in your practice, not just when you think you need it, okay? So here's an example. In my 20s, I was skating around the globe, skating professionally for a big company, a big production, and I had been on tour for maybe 7 or 8 years. And I think it was my 7th year, I got a contract that was a North American contract. And on that contract was a city, Edmonton. Now, for those who know me, know that this is a very special city because this is where I moved to when I was young so that I could train year round and become a competitive athlete. And I had lots of supporters there. I had family, I had my billet family, I had trainers, friends, right, that were going to come to the show. So I got to be nervous for months in advance. But then that was also an opportunity for me to use all the techniques that I had learned from my competitive days. For example, visualization or premeditated exposure, something that I would do where I'd put myself into a bubble. I would imagine myself in Edmonton, and at that time we were performing at the Rexall place. So I knew what this arena looked like. So I could be in California, maybe, if I had 6 shows that day, one of those shows I would practice basically I was pretending that I was in Edmonton. So I would get into the energy of performing, pretending my mom and dad were in the audience, that my grandpa was in the audience, and then I would go out there and I would feel the nerves on purpose, which is kind of a little bit crazy now that I think about it. But what was so cool is that when I got to opening night in Edmonton, okay, I was nervous, but I was able to perform my very best. And I enjoyed myself so much more because I was present, because I had been practicing being present with my future self, right? I wasn't exactly present in that moment with where I was, but I was still present with myself. And so I just want to share that story with you guys because I think it's evidence that when you take the time and invest in yourself this way, it really does pay off. So if you guys found that this was helpful, that it was useful, that you've tried some of these techniques, or that you have other techniques, please feel free to share them. And if you have a friend that you are competing with or that you train with and you guys are talking about, that you're nervous at the next competition, please share this with them. And so there you have it. There are some tips and tools that you can use to use your nervous energy to your advantage, but it's up to you guys to take these tools and implement them and practice them. That is when the real results come. So go out there and give it your all. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more type of content like this, subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified.